What? We're not quite live yet. We're not quite live yet. We're live now. Can you hear me? What's up? Evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it may be for you. I think I could take my headphones off now. Welcome to the afternoon bridge quiz. We're going to talk about opening leads today. And as usual, we're going to use our bid box program, and I've pinned the link directly to the chat at the top. Yeah, I love this hat. I got this at Disneyland Paris. It was pretty awesome. And for those of you that don't know, I think I've said it before. I'm a former Disney employee. I did the Disney college program, so I got to spend 5 months of a very long New York winter in Orlando one year, and I worked there. So I've always kind of had a fond memories of that place and the people there for sure. So welcome. We are going to talk about the toughest part of the card play, essentially. Now, card play is very, very tough, but this part of the card play is a special piece of the program because it's the only time we're actually going to play a card without seeing a dummy and also some information from our partner as well. So let's get started. And today we're going to cover the non-obvious leads. But before we do that, I want to start with the obvious leads here. What you're looking at, especially for those of you that play any ACBL tournaments or duplicate games, you're looking at the bottom left-hand side of a convention card. And this is where you'll see our agreements for standard leads, okay? The left side has where we play versus suit contracts, and the right side has what we play versus no trump contracts. The cards in bold are standard, right? Anything bolded in that black color means it's standard, and this should make some sense. Take a look on the left here. We have, what do we lead when we have a doubleton? We lead high and then low, right? We play high and then low, and we now know we will have a doubleton almost always versus a suit contract. In fact, if we can convert that to always, we'll have a very solid agreement. When we have three small, though, the standard lead versus suits is to lead low. All right, we're going to change that on the right, but don't worry. Ace from ace king is the generally accepted standard. In fact, high from a touching honor. We lead the top of touching honors, and that repeats all the way down here. Everybody see that? We'll talk about mud in a second. It's an old school method, right? So here on the left, we see very standard leads. In fact, these are some of the best leads. In fact, that's the absolute best lead to have versus a suit combination. Ace, king, you're defending a suit, lead the ace and see what's happening. And you're not in any danger territory here. Here, though, almost as good. All of these top of touching honors are meant to promote tricks, and that's what we want to be doing against suit contracts pretty frequently, getting our tricks set up and then making those plays. Over here, and this is another top of touching right there, 10 from 10-9. Here, this is top of an interior sequence, all right? These are leads that we make when we have an honor, a small gap, and then a sequence, right? In any of these situations, even over here, there's another one versus no trump. We just need two cards in a sequence there, right? And a higher card, right? So these are very standard leads when we have these. 10-9, top of touching honors, right? Here, we can still lead fourth best versus suits, but, and thanks, Jeff, for that very nice comment there. We are almost, I can't say we're rarely going to choose fourth best leads versus suit contracts as opposed to no trump contracts where fourth best is going to be amazing. Okay, so here we see the difference in some of our choices. We are still always leading high from a doubleton. Okay, when you see something in red here, in fact, you only see one thing in red on this entire screen. And that's because leading low from a doubleton is super weird. The Polish people, the entire Polish contingent in the World Championships up, they agree to play low from doubletons. It's kind of their standard agreement. So the rest of the world pretty much everybody agrees to play high from a doubleton. So if you agree to play low from a doubleton, especially here, right, you are going to be in a spot where you are doing something so weird you have to alert your opponents to this and bring a card with you, I think, still to say, hey, we do something we are really low from doubletons, okay? Because it's just going to be automatic for you in the future, I hope, to expect when you see high-low from partner, oh, that's 2. Bingo. I know what we're doing here. When you transition over to the no-trump side, though, you see this one. And here's where we'll bring some mud into the conversation. When we have 3 small versus no trump, we lead top of nothing, all right? This is very important. When you see partner lead like an 8 or sometimes a 9 versus a no trump contract without any weird agreements, that just means, hey, partner, I don't have anything above this. Because if I had something good, what would I lead, folks? What would I be leading if I had something good versus no trump and I had length? What's our lead? It is 4th best, right? No, take a look, folks. What we're looking at versus suits are on the left versus no trump is on the right. And remember, I'm not giving you anything new. You can find this on any garden variety convention card these days. Our standard leads will be on there, right? So what we're just discussing is the difference between our our choices here when we have these cards. When we have 3 small, we lead top of nothing versus a suit. Versus no trump, but versus a suit, we can't do that because top of nothing is going to look like a doubleton, folks, right? And that is what we do when we have shortness, right? So for that reason, versus suit contracts nowadays, the standard method is to lead low from 3 small. And let me head off some questions that you guys might have here, all right? Well, what the heck, Rob, if we're leading low from 3 small versus suits? Isn't our partner going to think that's 4th best? And sometimes they might, seriously. But we're going to be leading 4th best so infrequently versus suit contracts that when you see a low card, it's just likely to be more of a 3 small situation or small card situation than it is to be 4th best, right? It's just because it's not as common. Over here on the no trump side, folks, when we're defending no trump, my goodness, we are leading 4th best. I mean, I can't say always, but so frequently it seems like we're always just leading 4th best. And there's a big difference between the contracts, which we're going to fill out for the rest of our time together today, okay? We will be making decisions shortly, I promise. I just want to get us through some of these parameters. The good news is this is on all the convention cards, and you can see this anytime. The old school method with 3 small versus suits used to be mud, which is middle and then up the top card and then down. You can still agree to play that. It's not as common these days. The most important part of that discussion, though, is discuss all of these with your partner, right? You can play anything you like defensively as long as both your partner knows and you inform the opponents, okay? So not that you have to say, hey, guys, this is mud, but if they ask you, you certainly have to tell them. And, of course, you would denote that on your convention card by circling this, all right, if you really wanted to be, following all of the rules at the bridge table, okay? But, again, if you're just around the table, just ask your partner, okay, do we lead low from 3 small versus suits? Yeah, great. The other big difference is when we lead top of touching honors versus no trump, we lead with only 3 in the sequence at least, right? We can lead top of touching honors with 2 versus suits because it's more important to get our tricks established. Here, we need to have 3 in a suit to lead top of touching honors. Everybody good with that? Oh, interesting. Jeffrey says something that for the European Bridge Union, mud is still the standard with 3 small. And that brings a good important point. I'm going to give you the American perspective pretty much always, because that is what I am most familiar with clear understanding that, yes, like anyone that plays high-level bridge in Poland is leading low from doubletons, right? And you can't really argue with the Polish contingent because they are winning world championships like every year. So they do something well. But just, again, as long as you and your partner know that you're doing something you will not have any problems. Okay, very good. English bridge, Eugene. Excuse me. I couldn't tell if it was European or English. So yeah, okay, maybe mud there. Low from 3 small, as you can see. This is an older version of the convention card. It's been this way for quite a while. All right, one special one versus no trump here. If you have this king, queen, 10, 9, this is a pretty standard choice. You lead the queen, and this is an unblocking play. This says, hey, partner, if you're looking at the jack, please play it now, so I know that I can just continue this suit. And if you don't have it, I'll know. If we don't see it in dummy, we'll know declare has it. So here, if you led this, you didn't see the jack, and you knew it was in declare's hand, you didn't see it in dummy, you would probably switch and try to get partner to come back to you through that position. Yep. Okay, very good. So let's just give you a quick last peek at this, and I'm going to tell you, we're not going to do any of these leads today, pretty much. What we're going to talk about is when we don't have a clear-cut choice like what we're looking at on the screen here. We can see what's standard, and I think and some of you may not have played a ton of bridge, this is still great for you, right? This is the basis of how we're going to choose our opening leads always. But the standard stuff should seem pretty natural to you. Top of touching honors, right? We're going to lead fourth best versus no trump, so on and so forth. So let's keep digging here, and let's look at passive leads versus aggressive leads. When we don't have a clear-cut lead, like if you're dealt ace, king, queen of a suit, you're not going to sit here and say, hey, should I be passive? Should I be aggressive? You're going to lead the ace, and then you're going to start figuring things out, okay? But when you're dealt hands like this, right, and I'm not going to give you any contract. This is just a general conversation about making an opening lead. So here you have this random hand, and I'm going to tell you what a passive lead is. A passive lead is a lead where you're leading away from as little as possible in your hand, okay? So in this hand, there are some passive lead choices, I suppose. Maybe some is an interesting wording for it, but I'm going to bring in the bid box, and I'm going to ask you to make your choice of leads here, folks. If I tell you, you must make a passive lead, okay? So what would a good passive lead be? And I forgot, I need to take that off there, excuse me. I don't want everything to be seen. There is certainly more than one correct answer if I just, in a vacuum, say, what would be some choices of passive leads? But there's one best choice. Remember, all I'm saying is when we're making a passive lead, we're trying to give up the least, meaning we're trying to not lead away from anything good, but also we're trying not to set up anything good in declares or dummy's hand. And actually, I need to crater my camera here because it goes a little bit deeper here. All right, here are all the choices, plenty of them, even more than we can see. Here are the passive leads, folks. The passive leads are all in the heart suit, okay? A passive lead is trying to lead away from nothing, or also think of it this way, trying to give up as little as possible. So some of you also chose the ace of diamonds, the ace, the low club, a low spade, okay? All of these could be amazing, by the way. That's the weird thing about opening leads. When we're on opening lead, even if we choose a weird choice, it could end up being, oh my God, my partner has the king. That's awesome. Amazing. Boom, boom. We're killing it. But we're trying to make the best lead for all situations, and we're just catering to the perpetuity of the game, right? We're going to be doing this all the time. We want to make the best decision the most percentage of the time, and that way we're going to be just getting better results, okay? So long story short, when we lead passively, we're leading away from nothing. So yes, a heart is the right choice. And I got to say, the correct heart is the 10 of hearts for sure, right? That's a top of touching honors. I forgot to tell you that the 10 is always and forever going to be an honor card, folks. The 10 is an honor, always and forever. So here's how a sequence goes. A sequence has to include an honor card. So what we're looking at with hearts especially, we're looking at the lowest sequence. Queen, Jack, sequence. King, Queen, for sure, sequence. Jack 10, yep. 10, 9, yep, because the 10 is an honor. What about 9, 8? In fact, let's test out our true false button here. I'm going to give you a true false question. True or false, the 10 is an honor. True or false? All right, that's an easy question because we just shared that one, but it's the true false button is working. Boom. Now, second question. If we have 9, 8 and we lead the 9, if we have 9, 8 and we lead the 9, is that top of a sequence? True or false? When we lead 9 from 9, 8, 9 from 9, 8, whatever, is that top of a sequence? True, that's top of a sequence. False, it is not top of a sequence. Is this top of a sequence? Or if you want to solve this, what is another way we say top of a sequence? I like what I'm seeing, leaving the false answers up there. Another way we say top of a sequence is we say top of touching honors, right? Top of touching honors. So this is not top of touching honors, not top of a sequence, right? So if this was a no trump contract, I would lead the 9 because it's top of nothing. But if it was a suit contract, I would not be leading the 9. I would just be leading low, right? Or whatever my partner and I agreed we would lead from those small cards. Everybody okay with that? That distinction? A sequence starts with an honor. Okay? Good, good, good. Let's see another one. Now, on the bottom hand down here, let's go with another card play question. I'm going to give you guys your choices. Make some passive leads down here, folks. Make some passive leads with this hand. Right? And I'm not going to give you the contract. I don't want you to know whether you're defending a major suit, a minor suit, or no trump. I just want you to make your choice of what would be a passive choice here, right? What is our passive choice of leads? And now I realize what was wrong with me. I'm like, why can't I see everything? My chat is not in the right place. Sometimes you're a dummy, Rob. All right, so what are our passive leads looking like, folks? And honestly, I like any time, and we're batting 1,000, folks. This is awesome. Let me show you some results. There it is. We're leading diamonds and clubs. I don't care what you choose. That's amazing because those are our passive leads. Now we have the lay of the land, right? We know what looks passive. We're not leading away from anything good. And the reason being we have good cards on this side that we might be worried are in trouble if we lead away from them. Okay, so when will we be passive? Here's the first thing we're going to be thinking about. We're going to be thinking about the level, right? The lower the level, the more time we are going to have to get in, take tricks, and make leads, right? And why is that okay to be passive, folks? Because on opening lead, we are not going to know what's going on necessarily right away. So if we're going to have opportunities later to discover certain things about the hand before we make a choice of, hey, which of these honors do I want to lead away from our cash? We're going to just sit back and be passive, and we know we're going to have an opportunity to make that decision. Everybody good? Yeah, and I'll get to some of the questions in the chat when I have a second. I want to get through this first spot here. The second part of level here is we're almost always, and this isn't always, sometimes we have situations where we want to be aggressive, but just in general, we almost always want to lead passively against slams, okay? A question I get very often when we talk about this slide is, what about aces? If they're in a slam, do we lead an ace? And I'll tell you, sometimes it's absolutely right, especially if you think there's a lot of shape and you really think you might not get it if you don't. But I'll say usually it's probably not the best thing to do. Because what happens when you lead an ace, folks? Kathleen, that's what I just said, right? Sometimes it can be right to lead aggressively against a suit slam. Against no trump, it's usually terrible, right? Because that's a trick take thing. But again, when the auction didn't tell you necessarily you could be aggressive, we are almost always passive. And what I mean, folks, is we don't even lead away from like Jack fourth against 6 no trump, because we may just in fact be giving declare a trick with the 10 that they could have never taken when we don't lead away from our Jack. Okay, so when we have an honor in our hand, especially in situations where we're likely not seeing it go away, we want to be very passive. Everybody good with that? And again, as always, folks, all of this, anytime you make a good decision that you think is awesome, making an opening lead, it could turn out to be terrible, right? So situationally, we're going to be talking about different leads, and you're going to, if you play a ridiculous amount of bridge, you will get reasonably good at figuring out when those times are, right? And the reason it takes so long, folks, is how often are you going to be on lead versus a slam when you play bridge? Talk to me, folks. How often are you going to have that decision? Yeah, exactly. I can't see anybody in the chat, but I know what you're thinking. You're not going to be leading against slam very often, right? So in spots like this, we are just going to be, we're going to be hopefully making obvious choices when we get them, right? But most often we're going to follow these guidelines. Strength is another really big spot to look at when or when not to be passive. When declarer's hand is really strong, right? We certainly want to be passive, right? If we can. Now, again, this is not, hey, you're dealt king, queen, jack, fourth of a suit, but you should be passive because declarer is strong. Of course not. Remember, all of these parameters are when we don't have an obvious choice of leads. Okay, folks? So in these situations, when, for example, you hear right-hand opponent open 2 no trump, and it goes pass, 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 or it goes 2 clubs, blah, blah, 2 no trump, 3 no trump. We don't want to be leading away from kings, right? If we have king fourth, this is a time where fourth best looks terrible, right? Because where do we think the ace is? Okay, this is really good stuff to be thinking about. So the auction is certainly going to help us, and it's the only thing that's going to help us. So if we know what our passive leads look like, I'm going to send you a bid box question right now. Make your choice. What are the aggressive choices here? Make an aggressive lead, folks. Make any one you like. What's an aggressive lead here, folks? And while you're doing that, I'm going to look at the questions in here. I think I saw something about coded 9s and 10s. Yeah, so again, what I'm teaching are standard leads, okay? And the beauty of all of carding, like leads, carding, signals, you can play any version you like, but standard will probably get you the most partners. And also, whatever version you learn, you can quickly pivot once you play enough of that same system. So here we're going to lead standardly pretty much. So what I'm going to show you are just ways to make standard leads, and also ways to choose which of these suits to lead in most situations. So I see some good stuff. And it's basically everything but hearts is an aggressive lead, and I like it. We're seeing exactly the correct choices. There we go, folks. Yeah, diamonds would be aggressive, clubs would be aggressive, spades would be aggressive, right? Leading away from our stuff. These are aggressive choices. And I don't need to give you guys the question on the bottom here. Of course, we see the heart suit and the spade suit would be aggressive choices as well. When should we be aggressive? Well, when either the dummy or declare has shown a source of tricks, so a long side suit, right? We want to be aggressive. You guys can probably intuit why that is, right? When they have a side 5-card suit or even a side 6-card suit, they're going to try to set that up, and they're going to get rid of the losers in the suits we might have good tricks in, right? Which are hopefully, and not hopefully, frequently the other suits, okay? So these are the times where we will lead away from kings, right? We will lead away from queens. We will be very aggressive. If they've bid a slam and we know there's a lot of shape or a very big source of tricks outside of a trump suit, like someone put in the chat earlier, these are the times we underlead our kings or we lead away from honors because we're worried about that trick going away. And a lot of times if we don't lead it, it's our last chance, right? So side suits, huge. Shape, also very huge, right? When they've preempted, right? When they just open one of a suit, like one heart, pass, one no trump, pass, four hearts, right? You hear auctions like that. Holy cow, that person has a whole bunch of cards in a suit. I know they don't have very many on the outside, and the longer I wait, the quicker those tricks go away. Is everyone okay with passive versus aggressive? We're not talking personality, and you can't be passive aggressive either. I don't know how that would work in an opening lead, but we're going to ask that question now. Do you want to be passive or aggressive with your opening lead? Here's how this is going to work, folks. We are going to give you true, false, okay? And true is going to be passive, and false is going to be aggressive. Everyone got the parameters? Everybody okay? All right. So first things first, I'm going to give you all these. Hang on. And then I'm going to give you these first three. Well, no, don't do that. All right. I guess we're going to have a cheat here. 2 no trump, pass, 3 no trump is question number 1. Is this an auction you would... And again, you don't have any lead to make. I'm not going to give any cards yet. Would you make a passive choice or a passive lead or an aggressive lead in this situation? Again, true is passive, false is aggressive. I think I said that right. So passive, aggressive. True is passive, false is aggressive. And I think I just figured out a way to change this. We're going to change this to just an A-B question, and then we can accomplish everything. Yes, this true would be passive. This is absolutely a spot where we want to be passive, folks. That's because right-hand opponent, open 2 no trump, right? So we have 20 to 21 points here. So if you're holding, I don't know, king, jack, 9 small, right? You probably don't want to lead fourth best from that, right? Or some other holding that you just think you usually would want to lead away from, but you know you're likely sitting behind what's in declarer's hand. Everybody okay with that, right? Especially when it goes 2 no trump, the best auction to be passive, and we might see an example of this, so I might be ruining it, but when it goes 2 no trump, all pass, right? Eesh. Now left-hand opponent might never get on lead. All right, number 2 now. Again, true is passive, false is aggressive. Here's another question. The auction was 2 spades on your left. Right-hand opponent bid 3 hearts, and West bid 4 hearts. So true is passive. And I'm going to put that right here. True. False. Again, please, no comments about how awesome my handwriting is. This is actually a very good representation of how I would write if I had a real utensil to write with. So I'm proud of how bad it is, but, it's not much better. Very good, folks. I like what I'm seeing. This is for sure the time to be aggressive, right? We want to be aggressive because we know West has a 6-card spade suit, and they have now found a heart fit, right? So they're going to set up that spade suit quickly after drawing trump and pitch all their losers away. You lead away from low honors. You lead away from other things. You're very, very aggressive when you don't have a clear lead. You're trying to set up tricks and probably clubs and diamonds. And that's the suit you're going to kind of guess which one to lead. Everybody okay with this? Jeffrey, I have no idea what that is. No, I don't. So next case and last one on this line, number 3, 3 spades by East, pass 4 spades. 3 spades, pass 4 spades. Aggressive or passive? Passive or aggressive? And sorry, there's the question, folks. Apologies. So we were passive, we were aggressive. So do I have a weight? No, so what I do, I'm using a broadcasting software where I get to kind of share a whole bunch of parts on my screen, and that comes with a whiteboard extension, which is amazing. I think I know what you're talking about. It's just kind of where I would just be drawing in pencil instead, like a telestrator. But all right, so 3 spades, pass 4 spades. Just the general question: should we be passive or true or aggressive, false? This is aggressive, folks. It is aggressive, okay? And it is aggressive for a very good reason, for 2 very good reasons, excuse me. Number 1, shape. The more shapely one or both of the hands are, the more aggressive we want to be. And we know East has shape. But secondarily, folks, just like on the far left in number 1, we have spots where we know when it's very strong on our right, we want to be passive. But here, what do we know about our right-hand opponent's hand as far as strength? What do we know about their strength, folks? Yeah, they're weak, right? That's a preemptive opening bid. So 7 spades, bad hand, right? Yeah, they just have a bad hand. So here we know that when we lead away from honors, we're probably not giving up much, right? In fact, if there is some sort of finesse that's happening, it's to our left, right? So when you have a preemptive bid on your right or a weak hand as declare, you can be aggressive by default because you're just way less likely to be leading into the teeth of anything good in those side suits. Does that make sense, everybody? You're getting a lay of the land, right? When it's not great for us to be leading into a lot of strength, we kind of shy away from those aggressive choices. But when they're weak on the right, whatever. Let's be aggressive because honestly, whatever we have, if we were being finessed out of it, we're going to be finessed out of it anyway, right? So here we're just kind of being on that side. Yeah, exactly right. Leading through strength or towards weakness, all of that stuff working well for us for sure. Excellent stuff. Let's get on to line 2 here. I'm going to give you 3 more. Are you ready? Look at this one on the left. 1 diamond, 1 heart, 2 no, 4 no, 6 no trump. No other information. True is passive, false is aggressive. Make your choice, folks. Passive or aggressive against this contract. Let me know if you're liking this, folks. I'm enjoying it, but I do this all the time. In fact, the good thing about all these lessons is I have taught a lot of these lessons. And for those of you that are in my live classes and are attending, thank you for attending. But this is review for all of you guys. But that is the gift. Being in front of a live audience when you do this, I usually get to become familiar with most of the questions and the issues that come up. So I'll try to kind of reference those before you ask, but nothing is a substitute for a good question. So feel free to pop that in the chat for sure. Yeah, I love what I'm seeing, folks. Great stuff. Here are the results. True, meaning passive. Absolutely, right? Passive for sure. You're not going to want to lead your 4th best here. And that's the thing. Do not just by rote lead 4th best versus a no trump contract. I see people do this. I've been gifted many 6 no trump slams by people just making what looks like a normal no trump lead, when in reality, it's giving me the 12th trick that I can never get myself. All right. So in spots like these, top of nothing is your best friend, right? Or if you have some sort of obvious choice, make it but don't lead away from even queen fourth or queen 10-9 or the jack fourth. Be careful. Be very careful. Yeah, Jeffrey, exactly right. If you have a cashing ace king, first off, I will tell you before you lead the ace, double six no trump, and then you will be very happy to cash your two tricks. Yes, again, like I said, when you have an obvious choice, you make that obvious choice. But let's get to the parameter back. Can I speak? Let's make a passive or aggressive choice here. Hand number 5 in the middle. This one right here. Make your choice. Passive or aggressive. True is passive. False is aggressive. We have a lot of people piling into one spot, but let's see if the other side gets action. Should we be passive? Should we be aggressive? True is passive. False is aggressive. And just take your time here. Also, look at the auction and think about what dummy is about to put down. All right. And by dummy, I'm not talking about your partner. I'm talking about your left-hand opponent who opened one heart showing 5+. And then they found their way into a spade contract after showing 4 cards in the spade suit, right? So here they have a side source of tricks, right? And a side fit. So we're in a hurry, right? This is a spot where definitely we want to make that aggressive lead. And that's what 73% of you got right there. Source of tricks, my goodness, whatever I have in those other suits is likely going away once those hearts get run. Okay? Everybody okay? Number 6 now. Next chance to excel. Here's your question. Make your choice. And again, true is passive. False is aggressive. Honestly, I've seen very good partnerships bid a slam off the ace king of a suit cashing for sure. Not that much anymore, but it certainly can happen, especially late in a tournament when you have maybe a bidding accident and you're not sure what's going on. You definitely can see those issues pop up for sure. This one's interesting. We have a debate in the responses. In fact, it's getting closer as we go. Remember, true is passive, false is aggressive. And I will tell you, for the first time, I think we're wrong in the chat here. Right? We're making 56% of you are making a passive lead, and only 44% are making an aggressive lead. It should be aggressive, right? And it's mainly and pretty much only because we should know East is not only pretty strong, but very shapely. You see what happened? They opened a heart. Their partner showed 6 or more points and 4 or more spades, nothing else. And he said, yeah, I don't really care, 4 hearts, right? So that's a hand that thinks it can make 4 hearts opposite 6 points and 4 spades. Everyone see what we're thinking about there? So that's a lot of shape and a lot of strength. And when that's happening, we're in a hurry again. Everybody okay? Ish? All right. So I want to give you one more in this. Oh, yeah. I want to give you hand number 7, and then we're going to move on. Okay? So hand number 7, make your choice. Would you like to make a passive lead or true, or an aggressive lead? False. Oh my God, I keep dragging that. I can't seem to make a false button. So passive or aggressive with hand number 7 here. And sorry guys, there's your question. I'm all over the place on that question, guys. Sorry. Passive or aggressive, hand number 7. It's a pretty dream scenario for one of those choices. And if you've ever played this contract, you know what I'm talking about. Well, look what happened here. East showed 18-19 balanced, right? 18-19 balanced. And West said, yeah, thank you very much. I don't want to play game. So West has like 6 or 5 points, something like that, something they stretched to bid one heart with. And there are those results. Very good stuff, guys. 81% of you there. This spot right here, this is screaming for a passive lead. And the reason is they might never get to this hand to do any of the work they need to do. So all the honors you have and all those meaty positions you might have, ace jacks, right? King 10 nines, things like that. You want to keep those and sit back and wait for declarer to have to lead from their hand, which they're going to have to do pretty much for the end of time on this deal. Okay, guys, we all good? All right, so let me remind you of our parameters for suits versus no trump. And if I can get to there, we go. Good. All right, so here are our choices versus these suits, right? When we're defending no trumps, we're typically making aggressive leads. Fourth best is in a vacuum an aggressive lead, right? Because we're leading away from stuff, but it's a good lead because our job is to get our length set up so that we can start taking that length in tricks later on. Exactly, trying to set up our long suit. And tricks aren't as likely to go away when we're playing no trump versus suit contracts when they're way more likely to be going away. We've all seen it. We've all had our ace trumped, right? Or our king trumped when we think we're cashing a trick and it's wah wah. That's because you're playing a suit contract. And no trump, when you get in and you have a cashing winner, it is going to cash, right? They cannot stop it, right? So our common leads, most often, massive percentage of the time, we're leading fourth best. Infrequently, but frequently enough, it's top of nothing. And then, of course, the standard stuff. Top of 3 touching honors, top of an interior sequence like we saw before. All great options versus no trump when you have them, right? But when you don't, these are pretty good too. All right, suit leads, typically passive. Reason being, in low-level contracts, we're frequently going to have time. And also, we're trying not to give up tricks, right? That when we're aggressive on opening leads, we have way fewer opportunities in suits than we will in no trump, okay? So here, tricks can disappear quickly, so we're going to be really careful with the times that we choose to be aggressive, and for good reason, right? Singletons, yeah, sure. That's not an aggressive, or that's just a good choice of leads. When you have shortness, you think you can get a quick rough, very good choices. I'm going to go down here first. Top of 2 touching honors, that's a gift, right? Especially ace, king. Let that fly immediately and never worry about it, right? Even if partner bid a different suit, cash your ace first, okay, let's check it out, right? Easiest choice ever. But also king, queen, queen, jack. These are gold mine leads because they rarely give up anything. Queen, jack can sometimes, I suppose, right? That can happen, but I'm not worried too much about it. And also, they're usually just promoting tricks and being safe. Doubletons with an asterisk. This is very important. How many tricks is it going to take you to void your doubleton? Well, unless it's ace doubleton, which is another pretty good lead versus suits, it's going to take you 2 rounds to void yourself, right? Or unless partner's a hero with an honor, okay? So when we lead doubletons, we want to have an honor in the trump suit, right? Or what we call a trump entry. So what you want when you're leading a worthless doubleton, and I mean like XX, like 9-4 or something like that, you want to make sure you have at least one ability to take a trump trick so that you can void yourself of your doubleton and then get your roughs. I'm Jeffrey. We're going to talk about leading trumps very quickly, actually. In fact, let me just give you the don'ts, right? This is the 10 Commandments version of the program here. Thou must not lead away from aces versus suit contracts. And these are only when we're defending suits. So we don't lead away from aces. We also don't lead unsupported aces. What's an unsupported ace? An ace without the king beside it, right? Ace, whatever else, especially like ace queen or ace jack or ace 10. We don't bang down that ace, right? It's just usually a bad lead. We also try to avoid leading singleton trumps. Not try to avoid it, just don't do it unless it's literally your only good option, which it's still a terrible option. The reason when you lead singleton trumps, you're frequently finessing partner's long trump suit. Okay. Leading the opponent's other suits, again, any of these could be okay sometimes. This one, rarely going to be okay. Right. And then once again, reminding you, doubletons, small doubletons, we're not going to lead those without trump entries. Everybody okay? Okay, now, what do we lead when we have Queen X of a suit? Or should we lead it? Yeah, sorry, Kathleen, there's that little nugget there. I'm going to show you guys exactly where to find all these notes afterwards, so do not worry. What do you lead from Queen X or King X? Someone in my Tuesday class gave a great answer to these questions, by the way. Just say this is a random suit. In fact, I'll take away, I'm going to take everything away. You're on lead, and you have other choices, but this is one of your choices. You have this doubleton. What would you like to lead? Or how about, I'll give you two choices. Would you lead either of these suits? Queen doubleton, singleton king. Do you think these are good leads? Or would you like to avoid them? True, I think they're good leads. False, I would like to avoid them. Make your choice. I sent you a bid box question. True, good leads. Let's lead the queen. Let's lead the king. False, avoid at all costs. Maybe at all costs, but most costs. I like this. We could do bid box without even a PowerPoint slide. I can just get this whiteboard going. Yeah, very rarely is a good answer, Jeffrey. This is a spot where, and I'm so happy to see this, what will declare do when they're missing these cards, folks? What are they going to do? They're going to take finesses, right? They're going to finesse for the missing queen and the missing king. So we don't want to blow up that position right away. The only time you might is if, let's say, partner bid that suit. If partner bid my queen doubleton, my queen doubleton looks amazing now, right? For sure, especially if they overcalled, right? But save for those things. If it's an unbid suit, we don't know anything else about it, we avoid it at all costs. Great, great stuff. I love what I'm seeing here. All right, now let's get to the... Okay, I wanted to show you one other thing. This is what leading away from an ace versus a suit contract looks like. All it looks like is this. Hey, I had an ace in a suit, and I led low from it. Yuck. You might never get a heart trick now. This is it again. Oh my gosh, I did it again in diamonds. I led fourth best, but I had an ace. I don't do that versus suits. Everybody good? How about this? Let me get it back to this. Make your lead versus four spades. Ready? Here comes a card play question. Make your lead versus four spades, folks. Make your choice. I think there are two reasonable choices. I think there's one very reasonable passive choice that most of you are hitting on. Not most of you. Let's see. I think we have more than half of you leading clubs, and the other good portion of you leading spades. Right? If anybody led, and let's see. Did anybody lead the two of diamonds or the two of hearts? Thank goodness. We all did well. Okay. So if you led an ace, you probably made a secondary cardinal sin. Usually don't want to lead an ace because you're likely setting up tricks without them having to knock your ace out. So here I would either be leading a low club like most of you did, but honestly, if I just felt like I didn't want to give anything up right away, notice I'm going to have two more chances here. I have an ace and an ace. I could lead a spade here and just be very passive, right? Leading trump sometimes can just be taking all your options and honestly opening leads in general. Hey, can't do this. Off the list. Every card in that suit. Same here. Not leading away from an ace, not leading one behind it. This Definitely possible. Is it aggressive? Yeah. Does this require an aggressive lead? I don't necessarily know. There's no great shape other than the fact they have a 9-card fit. And also invitational and a little more than an opening hand. There's not a massive hand to my right. However, this is certainly the best of the non-Trump options. However, a spade is likely to give up nothing, right? Because whatever honors partner has, they're likely to able to be finessed with this 9-card. Partner only has 2 cards, right? Everyone okay with this? See how my mind is working? That's how I want to just kind of put that in your heads for opening leads. Don't just blindly make a 4th best lead. Take your time and say, what's going on? When am I going to have chances, right? And do I have time to get this right later, right? Very cool. Very good. All right. Let me get you to more choices before we... there we go. Okay, that's what I want. Let's make some leads. Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. Here you go. I'm going to give you 3 hands. There they are. We're going to start with number 10. And I am going to give you a lead box right now, and then I'm going to take my results box off. Make your choice. And the auction went 1 club with number 10. 1 heart by right-hand opponent. 1 spade by us. 2 clubs. 2 diamonds, which was just, hey, I want to play hearts higher than the 2 level if you do. 3 hearts was, hey, let's go to game if you have a little more. And 4 hearts said, yeah, let's dance. Okay. So make your choice of leads. I think I can, there we go. I think I fixed that bottom part of the screen at least a little bit, folks. Thank you. All right. I like what I'm seeing. This is a good, easy choice, I hope. This one seems like it's pretty automatic. Hey, I have the 5 of clubs. I can lead my shortness, and I'm defending a suit contract. Let's get that on the table. Bonus, it's my partner's suit, right? So I get to lead my shortness. It's easy business here. Now, number 2. Ooh, wait. Is this... Oh, no, it's not even going to get that wide. Okay. Number 2 right here. Make your lead after I send you a new lead box. 1 no trump, pass, 3 no trump. What's your lead? Oh, let me get that results block off the menu here, folks. Yeah. Everything you see, I've made essentially all of these notes I created at some point. I did a lot of this sort of lesson during the pandemic, pretty much 2 or 3 times a week. So this is the fruits of my labor here. And here are the fruits of your labors, guys. The 3 of spades. That is clearly the best choice. When we're defending no trump, we lead 4th best when we don't have 3 touching honors, okay? And in this situation, we happen to know that we have king, queen, but 6-3 deuce. So here we lead the 3, 4th best. And all we're trying to do, we're trying to give them their tricks first, and then we'll take the rest later, right? So many people, especially at the beginning of your bridge careers, so many think that they want to get their tricks. Like they want to start taking winners, right? But really, we want to set up our winners. And is sometimes this going to happen? You lead the 3, dummy has Jack Doubleton, and declare has ace third, and they win the Jack. Or even worse, definitely happened. Jack Doubleton opposite ace Doubleton. Is that going to happen? You betcha it's going to happen. But you're not going to know that beforehand. So you're just going to make a 4th best lead like always, and get yourself to, most of the time, the best possible lead. Everybody good? All right. Last chance to excel on this slide. And then we'll get to the question we had in the chat earlier. I don't know if that's a hint. But here's the auction. 1 heart. Pass. 1 no trump. pass 2 clubs, all pass, and you are on lead. Yeah, not maybe beyond the scope of what we're talking about here today, Jeffrey. We're just getting a basic lay of the land for opening leads. So, yeah. Ah, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. We had a little misclick here. If I can get to the right screen. My screen is just there we go. Sorry guys. Now make your choice. Pardon me. I'm not sure I don't know what's causing the bottleneck as far as the speed of my mouse going across, but we're going to try to finish strong. So 1 heart, 1 no trump, pass 2 clubs. There is 1 very good lead. And if you want to interact live, just click that link at the top that's pinned to the chat. And that will give you a pure choice of 52 cards. And I'm going to show you the results on your devices at least first, and then show you on the screen. I didn't see too many of you leading the best choice, which was the Ace of Clubs. Here's what's going on, folks. And in fact, I tell you what, let me give you one more chance at this. What do you lead on this auction? All right, let's play it again, Sam. All right, here comes another question. Similar auction. What do you lead? 1 heart, pass, 1 no trump, pass, 2 diamonds. Make your lead. I like what I'm seeing because I'm not seeing. Oh, I think I just saw the best choice there. There's one of you. And honestly, there's another choice here that a lot of you are getting down. But I think we're forgetting to do one very important thing. And let me flash back real quick. I'm going to flash back to this one. The last hand on the right over here. This right here. This auction, 1 heart, 1 no trump, 2 clubs. And then I'm going to flash forward. Oh my goodness. Please work, Mr. Mouse. Sorry guys, my stuff is just super grindy right now. What's happening? Yep, folks, if you can hear me, I have something just kind of glitching up my my matrix over here, so I'm trying to shut down as much as I possibly can, so that I can actually get this answer off. Sorry, guys. Get out. There you go. There's one. Okay. All right. I think maybe I can get over to my button here. There we go. Okay. Maybe we can continue. And thank you very much for the super chat there, David. What I want to talk about, and I can't tell if you guys can see me or if my camera's a little glitchy, because from my side I can't. My head is going all over the place. So if you can hear me, let me just end on this slide. I know you can see the slide. These are times where we want to think about what each of the declare/dummy we're looking at when we saw this auction, right? So it went 1 heart, 1 no trump, pass, 2 diamonds. And on the other one, we saw 1 heart, pass, 1 no trump, pass, 2 clubs. What ETH showed was 5 cards in the heart suit and 4 cards in that minor suit. Okay, so they showed 5-4 pretty much always. And I'll tell you, they play semi-forcing no trump, so you kind of know this is 5-4, or if it's 5-3, it's a very strong hand, okay? However, what we do know is that in both of these scenarios, the last auction and this one, West chose the second suit. So they chose diamonds and they chose clubs on the last one. So that means, what do they have, right? And here's what they're likely looking at over there. And this is not inspiring much confidence, but I'm going to give it a shot here. In fact, I'm going to crater every window but my broadcast window, just so I can try to get this off here. What I'm trying to show you is left-hand opponent is very likely holding something specific, meaning they have short hearts and they have longer diamonds. So what is their strategy going to be, folks, in these situations? What strategy are they going to use? How are they going to take tricks, especially in this contract where we seem to have some pretty good hearts in our hand, right? What are they going to do? How are they going to take tricks in the dummy? Yeah, they're going to be short in hearts, and they're going to be relatively short in one of the side suits. In the side suit we know, hearts, right? Sorry. They're going to be relatively short in diamonds, excuse me, right? They may even have a fit in diamonds, but they definitely are short hearts. So the more we can lead Trump, the more we can crater their best opportunity. And if I can, I'm going to try to get back. Guys, I'm having a real tough technology problem here because I legitimately can't get to my window to kind of go back and forth. So I'm trying to get us there, but look at the hand we have on the screen. This is a time where leading the 6 of diamonds is terrific. And I don't want you to worry about leading away from the king, okay? You're leading away from the king where the ace is probably more likely to be on your right anyway. And if it's on your left, it was probably finessable anyway. But the more important thing that we're doing is we're taking away dummies trumps. So we're preserving heart tricks. The more diamonds we get off the dummy, the less hearts that declarer can trump. And trust me, declarer has 5 hearts, right? So here they have a lot of that they're going to try to get rid of. So we want to keep them from doing that. Oh my God, I almost had it. There we go. I think I have it. There we go. Let's get back to the last slide. Look at how good the club lead is on the right, folks. Look at number 12. It's even better here, right? The ace and king of clubs are unbelievably good for us in this spot because we're going to get to draw 2 rounds of trump immediately and then play a third trump. And look at your heart position on number 12 also. Your right-hand opponent opened 1 heart. They're really going to try to trump some hearts. You have good tricks there. So that's when you draw trump. And yeah, guys, you can get the notes right here, right? So this is my site, bridgeteacher.substack.com or bridgelesson.com. You can go to that spot and click on complete guides. This is the defense complete guide, the very beginning of that. The question in the chat was, this seems like a very specific auction. The reason you're seeing this more than once, folks, is because this is a very common auction, right? It's what we call taking a preference, right? So when one player has taken a preference for one of the other player's suits, we usually want to lead trump, save for the time we have an amazing choice of other leads, right? Give me ace, king, queen of a suit. I probably am not going to go out of my way to lead trump in that situation. But yeah, when you see these auctions, my goodness, a trump lead is almost always amazing. Think of another one, folks. Think when they have a Michaels auction or something like that and they take a preference, trump, 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 right? Think of any time one player has shown 2 suits and the other player took a preference, or even better, when each player has shown their own suit and they settle on a third suit, right? These are times where, yeah, we can lead some trumps, and that's great stuff. And very sorry. Thank you so much, Kathleen, for that super chat. Really appreciate that. And sorry for the glitchiness at the end. I think from what you guys are saying, it was only on my end, but I'm having some weird stuff happening over here. I'll get that fixed for next time. But thank you for bearing with me while that happened. And yeah, enjoy this and also all the content at my site, which is, again, I'll put it in the link after this ends, but bridgeteacher.substack.com, bridgelesson.com will get you there as well. And that's the complete guide to defense is what you're looking at, folks. Thank you so much. And I will